Hello guys, today we are going to talk about usage-based components that are paid in advance. So two use cases for that. The first one is about, for example, per seats or per user pricing. So you want your customers to pay an invoice immediately anytime they add a new seat or a new member. That's the first use case. The second one would be very fintech oriented. Imagine that your Brex here and you charge a transfer fee, for example, a small percentage per transfer. And obviously, as you have a lot of transfers, you don't want to issue an invoice each time there is a transaction. So what you can do here, you can charge this transfer in advance, print a bank statement, but don't invoice for this specific charge. So let's see how we can do that in Lago. So first I'm going to add a plan. This plan would be the starter plan. Then you have to define a monthly subscription fee. And for that plan, the platform fee is $10. This is the first fee that you can make your customers pay in advance. So I'm going to tick the pay in advance here. And in addition to this monthly fee, I'm going to add usage-based components. So let's do that. The first one would be the seats here. I'm going to add $5 per seat, okay? In that case, it's pay in arrears, but I can change that and pay new seats in advance, meaning that each new seat added by your customer will trigger a new invoice immediately. And I can decide to generate an invoice for this specific event, okay? I want to generate an invoice each new seat added. The second case we have is the transfer fee. And I want to take a cut here on the transaction. Let's say 1% per transaction. In that case, I also want to charge this fee in advance instantly. But as said before, I don't want to generate an invoice each time there is a new transfer. I just want to display all the transfers inside of a bank statement. So I'm going to turn off here the generate invoices. Let's see how it works, and let's add this plan to the Gavin Belson customer. So I'm going to add the starter plan here, and we have two usage. The first one is the seats, and the second one is the transfer, okay? As you can see here, we have a first $10 invoice. The reason why is because the monthly starter subscription fee is paid in advance, okay? And let's get to the usage. Now I'm going to add new seats to this customer. Let's say that this customer has a new seat, which is the seat number 1. Okay. I'm going to add a request for that, an event. And here I have one unit, one seat was added. In that case, as we invoice this customer in advance, we trigger an invoice for this new seat added. And you can download here the PDF invoice. Okay. If I add a second seat, for example, seat number 2, that would be exactly the same use case. I'm going to add 2 units, $10, and I'm going to have a new invoice here, which is related to the new seat added. Okay, that's when you want to pay usage in advance and invoice your customer. In the second case for transfer, we take 1% per transfer, and we don't want to create an invoice. That's what we call the instant charge. So let's say here transfer, and that's the property, the amount of the transfer. We want to take 1% per transfer. So let's send that. Okay, I sent 100 as an amount, and 1% of this amount is taken as a fee. As you can see here, there is no invoice. Why? Because this fee is paid in advance, but is not invoiceable. This is a fee displayed in a proper bank statement, okay? But you want to collect this fee, right? And the right way to do that is that you can have here a fee created webhook. And here you have the detail of the fee you want to take, okay? So that you can the fintech, for example, like Brex, can just take the money out of the account for each new transfer without having a proper invoice for that, okay? And one last feature that is really cool with this usage in advance is that you can estimate the new fee, right? So I'm gonna for example, here take the customer ID, and my customer, like TransferWise, for example, needs to estimate the next charge for a transfer. Let's say that we have here $500 amount, and you want to estimate what's the cost for this new transaction. By sending this estimate fees here, you receive a price for the next transaction. That's not an actual charge. That's an estimate fees if the customer realizes the new transaction. Okay? So that's a really cool feature for fintech that need to display to their customers how much the next transfer will cost, for example. This is how you can pay usage in advance with Lago.